Great. We're going to be discussing environmental impacts and aspects of manufacturing companies in Nigeria. So it's not going to be very deep, it's not going to be very detailed, but it's going to give us an idea of what we should do. And then we can all take this back home to our various workplaces and then try to implement where we see that we are lagging. And then we can also improve on what we're doing so that we can sustain those good things that we're doing. That is my aim for this training. All right, so we go straight to introduction. An introduction is saying that environmental sustainability is increasingly critical in Nigeria's manufacturing industries. And there are key issues because these things have become very, very critical. So there are key issues that should be looked at. And these key issues include pollution, they include resource depletion. So we have various types of pollution. Many of us would agree with me if you're coming inward Lagos or you're living outside of Lagos, there is a particular area where if you are caught up in hold up in traffic there, you wouldn't like the odor that you perceive from that area. That's an example of pollution. Some of us go back to certain areas and we see the way the streams and the rivers are clogged with lots of plants on them, lots of plastic, lots of waste. And these plastics are plastics made from manufacturing companies of products or produce in this same country. And because they're not responsible enough to follow up on how they should be properly disposed or responsibly disposed, we find them ending up on landfill, all sorts of pollutions. There are some places where you go to, you start hearing deafening sounds. These things are the examples of pollution I'm talking about here. Also, we have resource depletion. We take lots of resources from the environment, and then what do we do to replenish? We build houses, we do lots of afforestation, deforestation, permit me, and then we do all those things without restoration of the green area. We take so much water without calculating and looking for a way or giving ample time. Just the way we do farming and we were told law of diminishing return, when you plant for a period of years, you allow the land to rest so that it can recuperate. That's, if you keep doing that, you keep depleting the nutrients and everything that's in that land. It's the same effect we have in today's manufacturing world. Also, issue of compliance with regulations and laws that guard around environmental sustainability are also issues we need to talk about. Now, this presentation just examines real-life environmental aspects and impact. So here, I'll be explaining what environment is, I'll be explaining what environmental aspects is, and I'll be giving clarity with what environmental impacts are so that we can understand properly. Now, we're going to be using local manufacturing example. Now, please, this is a kind of a disclaimer. I am not mentioning any company. I am not talking about any company specifically. I'm not going to be mentioning any company. Everything I'm going to speak in here is based on my own research of no company, particularly generally as a country. Thank you. All right. A brief overview of the manufacturing sector in Nigeria. It's important we go back to foundation and see where it all started. Now, the manufacturing sector in Nigeria is a vital component of the country's economy, and that is the truth. That's the truth. In as much as we are a largely import-dependent nation, we're doing good as far as manufacturing is concerned because quite a number of things that are imported are actually raw materials or raw equipment or things that are used to actually manufacture certain things that we end up also exporting. We're that big when it comes to manufacturing. And this contributes significantly to employment. You can go ahead and think about it. Many of us safety professionals wouldn't be employed or gainfully employed if these manufacturing companies are not here. The gross domestic produce or the GDP that they give to the country, that the country generates in terms of tax. We're not even talking of individual tax, now we're talking of corporate tax. The amount of money that customs generate from import duties of equipment for these companies. And oh Lord, you can break this down into sectors. So the GDP is huge. I'm hearing that a particular company contributes to 1% of Nigeria's tax. 1%, one company. So when you add others, you can now go and see. Now, and also this also brings industrial development. Yes, the country is no longer where it used to be. We are developing, and rapidly so, rapidly so. Now, these sectors comprises of food and beverage production, cement production, textile, pharmaceuticals, plastic, steel, etc. You know all these companies and you know where they are all located. And you can attest to the fact that, of a truth, these companies are actually doing their part. However, over the years, we've launched policies like Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan, and there has been an initiative to say, okay, local content has to be encouraged so that we can get foreign direct investment. That is, we can get investors coming directly to invest, and then we're having our people doing the job. We're having our, we're localizing it sort of. Now, way back, I think during President Obasanjo's regime, you started having Nigerian breweries. It used to be Heineken back in the day, but because of local content, the name had to be changed to give us that local perspective about it. And you can go on and on and on. When you go to the oil and gas sector, you are hearing local content, local content, local content. And that's how they started developing vendors, subcontractors, so that they can be fit and match up, so that they can be given or awarded contracts and all those things. These are ways how local content comes. And then foreign direct investment, lots of these companies are multinational, so therefore their parent body will be sending support, will be following up and ensuring that the company is doing well. And then they are making investments because they see the prospect. And when they are making the money, they keep investing and keep expanding. So you can also attest to this. Now, despite our challenges, yes, we have a whole lot of challenge. If you run a small business in Nigeria, you would understand. Even a pure water company, you would understand this. There has been inconsistent power supply. In addition to being inconsistent, it's now very expensive. There is high operational cost. There are lots of regulatory bottlenecks, and this is fact. You know this. You go for social documentation, they are wasting your time. They are asking you for bribes, a lot of things. But the sector, the manufacturing sector, still remains very promising and very promising avenue for sustainable growth. So I thought to also share this. Also, there are various locations where manufacturing is actually on the peak. So we're talking Lagos State, Ogun State, Kano. Ogun State is benefiting from the, how do I put it now? The lack of land, the proximity to Lagos and all that. Anambra is also doing very well. You can see some things coming up. These are key manufacturing hubs and their industries, domestic use, they export across Africa. There is now increased adoption of technology and emphasis on environmental sustainability, and this helping in shaping the future of manufacturing in Nigeria. So this is like an overview of this. Now, let's get the class a bit more interactive. This is a brain teaser. So I want to find out so this is what I'm going to do. So for each of these 4 points, when I mention anyone, if it is green, tell me it is green. Green stands for those that are environmentally friendly. If it is not green, then tell me not green means those that are not environmentally friendly. So let me see you say these things. Give me reply or responses in the chat box. So number 1 says using solar panel. So is using solar panel green or not green? Solar panels. I'm seeing lots of green. Lots of green. Wow.
Green.
Wow, that's lovely. So how many of us have solar panels in our house? In our houses? How many? Or in our offices?
I have an office.
Wow, that's beautiful, Miss Destiny. Somebody said not green. Please, solar panel, using of solar panels is green actually. It's green because it's environmentally friendly.
I'm using one now as we speak.
Hello? Hello, Mr. Wali, you said something.
I said I'm using one now as we speak.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Somebody said it's expensive. Don't worry, we'll come to cost on the long run. You're looking at it on the short term, but on the long run, you'd see that it's more cost effective. All right, dumping waste in a river. What do you think that is? Is it green or not green? Yes, Abel, not green. Yes, Vivian, not green.
Not green.
Yes, not green is causing a lot of problems. It's affecting
Not
the
green.
plants and the animals in the waterways. Yeah. All right. So planting trees around the factory, is it green or not green? Planting trees around the factory, is it green or not green?
Green.
Beautiful. This is green. So how many of us have trees around our factories, or we just built the production floor, the high skyscrapers and everything, admin building, and we do not have a green area? Do we have trees? Are trees planted? Economic tree. Okay, that's okay. I get that. So in some places, people also do this tree planting as a way to, as a memorial. So what they do is maybe when a big boss from the head office comes, or when there is an event, you understand, they plant those trees and then they put the name of the person that planted and the year it was planted. That's memorial, and it becomes institutionalized in such places. So you can also take this home and try to implement as well. Now, finally, running generators 24/7. Is this green or not green?
Not green.
Beautiful. I'm happy that you're picking this up very well, very nicely. So let's see the importance of EIA. Let's see the importance in manufacturing. So the first importance of this is regulatory compliance. And I hope we understand that in as much as we saying that Nigeria is a lawless place, we have to understand the fact that the country, as lawless as you think it is, has laws, has regulations, has things that must be followed up with. And then this regulatory compliance means that you have to adhere to environmental laws, which helps to avoid legal penalties, sanctions, or factory shutdowns by agencies such as NESRA, state environmental bodies. You have OGEPA for Ogun State, you have OGWAMA, you have LOMA in Lagos, you have the Ministry of Environment everywhere, and all this and all that. So I'd like to also talk about this. Has anybody heard or worked in a place or is working in a place where they faced any form of legal sanction from the government owing to environmental regulations or violations, sanctions, factory shutdowns? Have you shared an experience? I'd like us to share an experience. If you have any, just raise your hand and then you can speak. Do I have anybody saying anything to me? Anybody, please? Hello? Am I being heard?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
All right, I'm asking a question. I'm saying, can anybody tell me, have they experienced any form of legal penalties, sanctions, or heard of anything, or factory being shut down, whatever, as a result of environmental violations?
Please, we can go ahead. We might not necessarily mention the company's name. You can just go ahead and talk
Somebody
about
was saying yes. Go ahead, please.
Yes, there are sanctions like that. For example, a company that I work with, their sewage system was faulty at a point, and then they were discharging the sewage into the public gutters.
Wow.
And then some of these government agencies, they flock around to find people that are not complying to regulatory instructions and rules. And then that was how they were able to take the case up. However, they had a meeting and then it was resolved. But at the end of the day, a penalty of a very huge amount was paid to the Ministry of Environment.
Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you. Mr. Daniel, you can unmute and also say something, Mr. Daniel.
Okay. Everyone. Can you hear me?
Hello, Mr. Daniel, you can go ahead, please.
Okay.
Your volume is quite low. I can't hear.
Mr. Daniel, if you are using earpiece, please you need to take off the earpiece because we can't hear you. And I think that might be the cause. So when you are using earpiece, you need to take off the earpiece so that I can hear you clearly.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
yeah,
clear.
much better. And please,
Okay.
let's make it brief. Let's make it brief as soon as possible. Thank you. I think he's not here again. I think the network has taken him off. Please, Mr.
All right.
Okafor, you
So,
can go ahead.
yeah, all right. That's legal. That's regulatory compliance. The next thing is sustainability. And then in sustainability, it talks about using our resources responsibly. Just the way they will tell you drink responsibly. So I'm also telling you drink water responsibly, use energy responsibly, use the raw materials responsibly, right? Now, you have to ensure long-term availability and reduce dependency on non-renewable items. Now, let me give an example. So, I tell people that the environment is not actually, you know, back in the day, they would tell us that we are going to inherit land from our fathers, right? These days, you're not actually inheriting land from your fathers. It means that you're actually borrowing these resources from your future generation, from your children, and you owe it to them to give it back to them in good condition. That's simply how I understand sustainability. So it means that for every resource that God has made available to us, you're responsible to use them properly and ensure that you bequeath same in good condition to the coming generation. So it means responsible use of resources. That's what sustainability talks about. Now, there could be reputational or brand value issues if you're not an environmentally conscious company. Now, environmentally conscious companies attract investors, customers, partners, and it boosts corporate image and trust. Now, I'll give a brief explanation around this. Now, there are companies now, ESG is taking forefront, it's becoming a front burner everywhere. And then the IFC, financial commissions, World Bank, UN, and all those things wants to do business with your company. But they're asking you for your environmental parameters and you're giving them nothing. You're not telling them what you're doing environmentally to ensure that the environment is preserved while you're carrying out your business, and you want their money. They wouldn't respond to you. In certain climes, if you're not an environmentally conscious or friendly company, you start losing business. People do campaigns against your business. So these days, we should be looking inward. What kind of packaging materials are we using? How do we dispose our raw materials? What kind of finished goods are we producing? Are they going to be biodegradable? These are the things that we need to look at. Are we together? All right. Now, cost efficiency. Somebody talked about cost, saying solar is too expensive. Now, waste reduction, energy conservation, and recycling lower production costs, and also improves what? Operational efficiency. So yes, by the time you're becoming more environmentally friendly, you are reducing costs to run your company, to run your factory. Because it starts giving you the idea that generating too much waste is going to be a problem or have an effect on the environment. So why not reduce waste? And you know, the more you reduce waste, the more you increase useful tonnage of what you're doing, right? It's just simple. And then energy conservation. You now map out how energy is going to be used. You see people now coming down to LED bulbs, even in our houses. Those days of 60 watts, 100 watts, nobody is using even 10 watts. Now everybody is coming to 5 watts. And they still have more clear, like more reflection that you can see clearly with them, even clearer than that. Back in the day, those ones would even be generating heat for you. These days, it's no longer like that. These are the things we're talking about. Right? Now, recycling lower production costs. There are some lower production costs that can be recycled. The finance guys would understand this better. You bring from here, do this here, let it go through a cycle instead of just going and causing lots of wastages. And then your operational efficiency is also improved when you practice environmental sustainability, or you understand the environmental impact and aspects. Now, health and safety. This is simply helping us to minimize emissions. A lot of companies no longer use diesel. Many are now using gases to run. Many are using gas on their forklifts. Some are even going electrical, right? These are some of the environmental emissions we're talking about. Pollution also protects your workers, because if you're working in a place where people are exposed to things that can be injurious to their health, then you have a problem. You're not taking care of the environment. It means then people are susceptible to getting infected, getting ill, and all those kinds of things. And then the host communities as well. Mind you, we are also responsible for that. We are sited around people. And then the ecosystem, the water bodies, the plants, the animals. We can all attest to the first place where oil was found in commercial quantity in Nigeria, Oloibiri. And every time we keep hearing Shell cleanup, Ogoni cleanup, Ogoni cleanup, Ogoni cleanup. And these guys don't have potable waters to drink anymore. They don't have fishes anymore. And this were their mainstay. They were fishermen. This is what it can cause. And many of them started developing certain types of illness as a result of those activities that has affected their land, their soil, and over time they are eating it and they are ingesting these things and developing these illnesses. Many children are born with it because their forefathers, their parents have been eating polluted produce. So these are the things that we're trying to avoid with this. Now, climate change mitigation. Reducing GHGs, greenhouse gas emissions. This contributes to global efforts to combat climate change. This is one of our SDGs. We have to ensure that we protect the climate. And this is also one of the reasons why it is important for us to consider environmental impacts in manufacturing. All right. So a quick one, let's define the terms. So we'll put things into perspective. I'll try to do my best so that everybody can understand this part. And once we're able to get this part, then it means we have clarity for everything. Now, the first thing to talk about is environment. Just basic biology. So in the surroundings in which the organization conducts all its activities is what the environment is. So, and it has to do with their interaction as well. So the surrounding, so a company is sited on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, let's say it's sited in Mowe or something, and then the whole area there, the air, the water, the natural resources, the flora means plants, fauna means the animals in the sea, the humans and their interaction. This is the environment of the company. So let's put this in context. So now you can now picture and say, okay, now I understand the environment of my office, the environment of my company where I work for. Now, the environmental aspects are the elements of that organization's activities or products or services that they render that has the tendency that can interact with the environment. They can interact with the environment. That is aspect. And then environmental impacts now becomes the change, either positive change or negative change, either in part or as a whole, that results from that organization environmental aspect. That is, from those things in the company's activity, organization activity that can actually interact with the environment. So we'll give clarity to this, but I needed us to get these definitions. All right. So let's illustrate the scope of the environmental impact and aspect. Now, you see the first one there. You see a manufacturing company. So the environmental aspect, you can see this chimney that is bringing out smoke. That is an aspect. You can see these containers, these drums that has contents in them that are dangerous. Those are environmental aspects. Are we together, everyone? Now, as soon as this chimney, for instance, now starts emitting the greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, to the environment, it becomes the impact, the environmental impact. The spillage on the floor by that manufacturing there from those drums is what? The impact on the environment. I hope we understand this. Now, let's pay more attention to the second one and let's see. Now, for the second one, a factory, you can see trucks going in and going out. That truck is an environmental aspect. The recyclable waste being gathered is an environmental aspect. You can see emissions. The source of the emission is an environmental aspect. The other thing you're seeing there is like a noise. So those equipment that are generating those noises is like the environmental aspect. However, when they now finally interact or affect the environment, either positively or negatively, they become impacts. So spillage on the floor, the GHG from the gas emission or the emission, fume emission from the trucks, the noise from the truck, the improper disposal of this waste and that emission from the building. This now becomes the environmental impact. Now, for the one of construction, you can see the payloader. You can see the construction on around the area. It is depleting the resources. The green area is being chopped into, and all those things. Those are things that can actually affect the environment. They become the environmental aspect. And then when it actually affects the environment, either positively or negatively, it becomes environmental impact. I hope I've been able to clarify the scope and give us a perspective to what environmental impacts is and what environmental aspect is. All right, let's move on. Okay, so key environmental impacts. Now let's look at some environmental impacts. Air pollution is an environmental impact. So emission from manufacturing plants that can affect the quality of air as a result of combustion process, boilers, and generators. If you work in the manufacturing sector, you have this. And I believe we all understand this. Water pollution, waste disposal, and chemical runoff affects water bodies. Somebody said something about discharge into the water bodies without being treated. That's just an example. From untreated or poorly discharged or treated effluent discharge. So most of us that work in good organizations, we all have what we call the ETP, that's the effluent treatment plant or wastewater treatment plant, right? And this is for us to treat the water and make sure that they are in good condition or safe before they are discharged. They may not be safe for drinking, but they must be safe for the environment. And many of us do monthly monitoring. We have our contractors that come take these samples, analyze them for us. Some of us do the in-situ analysis of these things on weekly basis before they are discharged. This is our responsibility. All right. Waste generation / land degradation. Here, please mind you, we're giving you the impacts. Remember, impacts are the action of that organization that has a negative or positive impact on the environment, either partly or wholly. So we're giving this impact. Now, waste generation / land degradation, improper waste management can harm the soil's health. Solid waste from packaging and rejected goods, yes. If you dispose wrongly, so we should be talking of waste disposal at the source. We should be talking of waste segregation at the source. We should be talking of waste reduction from production lines. It can be a goal, it can be a project that you take up after this and say, no, you know what, how many percent waste is this machine generating? We're bringing it down by 10% by so time. You set smart goals around this. You segregate them. You apply the 3 R's of waste disposal, the reuse, the recycle, the reduce, and then it works out. Now, energy consumption. While we try not to look into this, many companies has a department called utilities. Some people call them other names. These people are saddled with giving you utilities needed to run the plant. So they give you the light, that the ones that change over when there is no light and they're changing to generators, they're the ones that ensure that there is water, these things like this. Now, manufacturing processes often rely on non-renewable energy sources. High usage contributes to carbon footprint. Remember, our goal is to reduce as low as is reasonably practicable carbon footprint. There are calculations around this. So every company should be responsible enough to track their energy consumption, set targets on reducing it per year, and then work towards it. Carbon footprint. Increased greenhouse gas emissions contributing towards climate changes. We can all attest to the effect of climate change. It becomes extremely hot. It becomes extremely cold. When it rains voraciously, like it rains seriously. You can't even say, oh, this is going to be a small rain. When the breeze is coming, it's extreme. So these are effects of this carbon greenhouse gases emissions. Way back, as I think around 2006, it was coming and they were talking about global warming and all that. And that's the same thing. We didn't do what we're supposed to do, and now we've gotten to this point. All right. Finally, noise pollution. This can be very underrated. However, it's also very serious. People do not see it as an environmental thing. There should be the amount of noise that somebody should be exposed to per day. So if you have companies around, and people are exposed, even people that, I'm not even talking about people walking around you, people that are just on their own, doing their normal businesses or just walking around, are affected by the noise generated by your plant, then there is a problem. It should be checked. So noise pollution from industrial operations and logistics, these are impacts. These are key environmental impacts of manufacturing companies in Nigeria. All right, so let's talk about environmental aspects now. And there are elements of an organizational aspects that can interact with the environment. I stated this earlier when I was explaining the definitions. So there are the positive aspects and we have the negative aspects. So in the positive aspects, you're saying innovation in sustainable practices. So when you do innovations around sustainable practices, yes, it's a good one. It is an aspect that is affecting the environment. So yes, it has to be captured. Now, some companies are adopting green manufacturing techniques, yes. And this is what? This is also an aspect. Now, waste reduction initiative is also an aspect. Recycling and responsible disposal of waste materials are also aspects. Now, you see lots of PET bottles. PET bottles means plastic bottles. You read around them and they tell you, I'm made from other bottles. They tell you recycle, right? These are companies that are doing these actions. And yes, they are affecting the environment positively with that. There's eco-friendly product design. Yes. Some R&Ds now have gone so far with this. They talk about packaging materials that can be recyclable, that lots of things, they do lots of research, they spend money to research this so that they do not all in the bid to preserve the environment. And then some people use biodegradable and recyclable materials. Biodegradable materials in the sense that even when you dispose them, they degrade. If you dispose the PET bottles, the plastic bottles, you will see them there after 5 years when you go to farm. And then you put your crops, it's affecting your crop. It doesn't make your crop to come out, or it gives them stunted growth. And then you come with tuber of yam, expecting a big tuber of yam, and what you're seeing is just very small. Right? So now companies are using biodegradable and recyclable materials to produce. Now, for the negative aspect, we're seeing things like waste generation, when you're generating too much waste and disposing them irresponsibly. Air emissions, I explained this earlier in details when I was talking about impact. And then noise pollution, and then water usage, right? These are the environmental aspects of manufacturing companies in Nigeria. All right. Okay, so let's come back. I've talked for 40-something minutes. I'm going to be rounding off very, very soon. But let's take this brain teaser. So now, let's talk. So if you want to say something, just unmute and speak. Now, what if the earth could talk? And then imagine the earth decides to send you a voice note today to your company as the health, safety, and environment personnel in your company. And the earth, I mean the environment, now decide, okay, I want to send a voice note to the safety officer of this company based on how they've been treating me. What do you think the earth is going to be saying to you and your company? Would it be saying it is angry? Would it be saying it is grateful? or would it be begging for help because you're killing it? Please. Oh, Abel said grateful. Wow, that's lovely. I need responses. I'm looking at the chat boxes. Responses,
Don't let
please.
us do greenwashing. Let us be truthful. Oh.
Yes. Tell them to be truthful, Mr. Wali. You know now. Somebody said happy. Wow, that's lovely. Happy is not the option, but yes, happy is also
I
grateful.
want to say
Wow.
something.
Mr. Destiny, you want to say something?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir. Please kindly speak loudly. We can't hear you. If you're using the earpiece,
Can you
please.
hear me? Yes. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, slightly better.
Okay. Like as for me, I would say the health to be angry.
Whoa.
Because the reason being that we are overutilizing their resources. And
Overutilization of resources.
Yes, and we are abusing it. So with that, I would say that we are angry. At time being, they might put a compliance, they might put a regulatory body that they will set a pace and say this is what we need. When you violate this, we'll penalize you.
All right, I get you. Mr. Oga Sunday, you want to say something as well?
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Sunday.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. Well done,
Thank you,
sir,
sir.
for the wonderful presentation. So
Thank
if
you
I
so
want
much.
to respond to that, I would say it would be begging for help.
Jesus.
The reason why, yes, begging for help. Because naturally the earth is supposed to do its work, but because of the overload, definitely it's going to be a begging for help so that there should be reduction, and in order to assist it in doing its natural work, to keep the environment safe.
All right, sir.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you so very much. I like your honesty. Thank you so much. So let's move on. So now we have, okay, Mr. Wali, go ahead. I see your hands raised up.
Yeah, from our own end, yeah, it will be very, very graceful to us. The reason is that one thing that we do is to ensure that basically physical trainings are fine. However, we always encourage, if possible, for people to be involved in virtual trainings. Reason is that the cost of, apart from the cost of petrol, the emission that comes with transportation from one point to another is part of the emissions. And another thing that we also do is that, like the training that we did last week, they were so grateful for the fact that there was no paper. We didn't generate any paper, both for attendance, application form, every form of our trainings. We don't generate any form of paper. Everything is always electronic. You scan the QR code, then you fill your form, you fill your attendance, and we reduce generation of waste as much as possible. So with that, I'm very sure Mother Earth will be giving me thumbs up now.
That's beautiful, sir. Thank you so much. CEO Coda Safety. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So I think we can move on now, and I'm very happy with the feedbacks and responses I'm getting. Somebody said the earth is begging for help because the usage and pollution were causing. Wow. Someone said health is affected. Wow. All right. Let's go. Okay. Now, there is for us to be able to track this, it's important that we have what we call the environmental aspect register. So I know majority of us here are safety professionals, and we know what we call the hazard and the risk register or the hazard register. The same way we should be able to have environmental aspect register. That is having a register of all your environmental aspects. Everything within your operation that has the tendency to affect the environment, either positive or negative, you should track it, you should have them on a list. Now, for instance, you group it into activity, the environmental aspect, the impact they will have, and then the control measures you want to put in place. This is like a quick, would I say, risk assessment for environmental impact and assessment. Now you're saying generator use, for instance, and then you're saying fuel consumption, fuel combustion. That is the aspect of the activity that will impact the environment. So the impact is air pollution as a result of what? Emission. And then the control measure is what? Regular maintenance of your equipment. Now, your control measure also has to follow the ESEAP. I hope you know that the hierarchy of risk control, elimination, substitution, engineering control, administrative control, and PPE. In some climes, they call it e-stop. They say elimination, substitution, technical. Technical has to do with engineering. Organizational, that's administration, and then PPE. So it's still the same thing, whichever you want to use. It gives you better clarity. Are we clear? But if it's for examination purposes, please stick to what the course material tells you, right? But get the concept. Now, they are saying regular maintenance and emission check. Some places, the control measure might be to eliminate the use of generator, and that solves the problem. However, they are tracking. The next one is product washing. And product washing consumes lots of water. Lots of water. Water usage is an aspect. But then discharge of effluent. Now, when that water is being used, how do you discharge it? Are they safe when you are discharging, or you're just discharging it with all the things? So you're working in a chemical company and you have washed all the chemicals and everything, and you are just dropping it, poof, and it's running off like that. And then the neighboring community, remember your host community, that is their water from, and then you pollute it for them. And then probably because they would not know, they
Mr.
still
Okafor.
drink it and they are poisoned
Okafor,
by
please
certain
kindly,
things.
yes, please take off
Yes,
your
can you hear?
camera. Take your camera. I think your camera. I think your network is fluctuating now. The bandwidth is
All
fluctuating,
right, is it
so
okay
so
now?
that you manage your bandwidth.
Oh,
If
okay,
you might want to
okay.
take off your camera so that you'll
All
be
right,
able to
I've done that.
manage the
Thank you.
bandwidth. All right.
All right. Okay, so effluent treatment plants or your wastewater treatment packaging process. Packaging process, the hello, am I still live?
Yes, you are
Yes, I
live
hear
now,
you.
but
I hear you.
you might need to change. You might need to share your screen again, please.
Okay, I
Yeah,
have to
we
share my
can
screen again.
hear you.
Okay, let me share my screen again, please, because I noticed some hiccups.
Okay.
Okafor, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm trying to share my screen again.
All right, please go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, we are enjoying you.
Yes, I'm trying to share my screen again, please. Can't hear him again.
Yeah, he said
Oh,
he wants to share his screen. Well, why is it taking long? Okafor, why is it taking long?
I'm coming. I'm here now. Okay. Is it up?
It should be loading if you have shared it. You are yet to see anything here.
Okay. 1 minute, please. All right. Are we good now?
Yeah, it's better now. We can see now in full.
Yes, it's better.
All right. Thank you so much. Sorry, it was network that kicked me out. I don't know what happened. All right. I think I can continue now.
Please go ahead, sir.
All right. So I was talking about packaging. And I said in packaging process, you have plastic waste. And then plastic waste, the impact will be land pollution. And then the control measure would be to implement recycling programs so that you don't affect the environment. What's this?
Any issue?
It's looking like it's becoming big or something. I don't know.
Just go ahead, please. Just go ahead so that
Okay.
the flow of the class will not be impeded. Just go ahead. We can see the screen.
All right.
Oh, you can't see it from your side?
I can't see from my side. That's the problem.
Oh,
Okay. Don't worry, I'll be fine now. I'm fine
just
now.
zoom out. Zoom out.
Yeah, that's what
It's
I'm
also
trying to
very
do.
it's also very big here.
Yeah, that's
Very
the
big.
problem. My mouse is
I think
acting up.
it's better. I think it's better now.
It's still not better.
Oh, it
Just
has
close
zoomed.
close the PowerPoint and open it again.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. This is serious.
Close the PowerPoint and open it again.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
It's still showing here.
I've closed it.
No, it's look better here now. I think it's
Okay, we're good, right?
Yeah,
Yes, it's good now.
yes.
All right. So now let's talk about steps to calculate the environmental impact and aspects, because you have to know how to calculate them so that you can track them effectively. Number one is that you have to identify these activities. So you're asking, what are the activities that affects this environment, that can affect the environment? So you have to list all the operations or processes within the facility. The next thing is what? You determine the environmental what? Aspect. Determine the environmental aspect. That is the elements of the activities that can actually interact with the environment. Emissions, effluent, waste, noise, you do that. And then you now identify the environmental impact. What changes can this cause to the environment, either positive or negative, to the air, water, contamination, biodiversity loss, etc. And then you now assess their significance. What significance would it be on the scale of, or using the following criteria: frequency. How frequent will the environment be exposed to this? What is the severity? What could be the legal requirements around it? What could be the stakeholders concerned, like your community, your host community? Then you rate or score each aspect. So there are ways to predetermine a kind of numbering to these things. And then you apply a numerical rating, just the way we have our risk rating, using the 4x4 matrix, the 3x3 matrix, or the 5x5 matrix, whichever applies. So here they also have their kind of matrix. That's what this rate or score is talking about. And then you calculate significance score. You total or you multiply the scores to determine the aspect. And then you prioritize based on your results become an issue, and then you document, and then you. Let me give you clarity now. Let's give clarity now. So, severity of impact is ranging from 1 to 5, for 1 being the low and then 5 being high. But your scoring guide will now be how serious the impact is to air, to water, to soil, to biodiversity, etc. So if you're taking emission, for instance, and you've not serviced your generator in 2 years, and as it's working, you're seeing black thick fume or smoke coming out from it, obviously that is high, right? Or you're somewhere and the noise is far more than 100 and something decibel. Outside, not even in an enclosed place, you know it's already high. And then there's a probability of occurrence. So yes, you have a badly serviced gen, but in 2 years, you have only turned it on 3 times. The frequency will be, the probability of what occurrence is low because you're not turning it on, right? And then what's the legal or regulatory requirements concerning it? Is there any violation? Are stakeholders or interested parties going to be affected? All these things. So this gives like a numerical rating to it. You can do this from factory to factory to suit your operation. Please, this is not a 1 square feet all example. Now, I also use still the same thing, but I'm bringing it back here again so we see. So you're saying severity of impact, want to know. So it's the same thing I talked about here. It's tabular here, and then it's just free here. So that's that. Now, let's quickly take a swap at challenges and recommendations. The challenges of meeting up these environmental requirements could be weak environmental culture. Honestly, we can all agree to this, that the E in HSE is undervalued. It's not looked at. Safety. We are always talking of safety. Any small thing, PPE, we are doing the human aspect, we are doing the safety aspect, we are doing the health aspect, but everybody ignores the environment. So weak environmental culture is a challenge. Number 2 is limited budget. You know, we talked about the fact that during the overview, that it's difficult to do business. So when they are bringing out this money, lots of other parts of the business to run the business is actually begging for this money, is taking up this money. So there's limited budget to do environmental related things. And then there are infrastructure deficits. Infrastructural deficits. Buildings are getting dilapidated. The equipment is no longer in the shape it was when it was bought the first time, the first year. Wastages are increasing and nobody is doing anything to overhaul. So this deficit is a problem. Now, what are the recommendations? Number 1, management support. So safety officers, environmental champions, we have to get management support. We have to win their support. We have to let them understand this. And it has to come from top down. And then you have to also engage the staff so that they own these processes. And in some workplaces, they go as far as, sharing vouchers, giving little tips to people, some incentive for working safely or for promoting safety in the organization. They do some wall of fame. They celebrate them, they give them a plaque. You should also engage this. And then there should be automation in monitoring. Automate these things. Install valves to monitor the amount of water that is being used, that is being consumed, so that you can quantify it. Don't just run taps and no. In fact, the government comes to companies to know there is what you call water withdrawal permit or certificate. They monitor the amount of water you take and they bill you based on that. Don't do like the borehole in our houses. Put valves, monitor these things. Put automatic dosimeters around the factory to monitor the amount of noise generated. Automate these processes. It makes life easier for us. These are recommendations, some of the recommendations that I would love to give. And then, what are the solutions? How do we solve these problems? Some practical solutions are energy efficiency initiatives. So I want to see a situation where safety engineers are taxing the engineering team, the electrical guys. What can we do? How do we move to more efficient energy generating processes? You're moving from energy efficient boilers and machineries. You're installing solar panels, improved energy metering systems. You have regular energy audits to identify how to save energy, opportunities of saving energy. That's one. Number 2 is water stewardship. You have to reuse treated wastewater for non-production activities like irrigation and cleaning. Some people use treated water, like if you leave them, they'll use distilled water to do cleaning, to wet the grass. You can do this by reuse of treated wastewater. You can also trap rainwater and use them for these purposes, non-production activities. Flushing of toilets and all those things. This can still work that way. And then installation of water-saving devices in restrooms and kitchens. Yes, beautiful in many organizations, they have sensors so that you don't have to go and be pressing, but no. It's censored. So there's a timer, it senses this, and then it flushes the amount of water that needs, and that's all. So water-saving devices can be installed. Also, partnership with local communities for water access and protection can also be done. This is what water stewardship. These are some of the solutions I'd like to be giving. The next is what? Waste management. I briefly mentioned waste segregation at the source. This simply means separating waste. Have your waste bin, have them labeled. Say this is for plastic. This is for paper. This is for this. This is for this. This is for this. You do that. And then you separate them and dispose them properly. You collaborate with recycling companies to drive post-consumer waste collection. A lot of companies are going into employees' waste collection scheme, like plastic collection scheme. Plenty, I know of plenty companies that encourage their what do you call it, their staff or their workers to come with plastics. And then they are in contract with some recycling companies that come and take this. And some even give incentives to their workers just to encourage them. So these are beautiful things. And then achieve zero waste to landfill. This is very important on your site. Ensure that there is no waste from your plant that ends up being dumped somewhere there around Ojota, where it's becoming a humongous landfill. And then number 4 is saying environmental education and community engagement. And this is also a way to do our CSVs or CSR, giving back to the society. Staff and suppliers should be trained on sustainable practices, tree planting campaigns, I mentioned this earlier, and then you also have to give support to NGOs that are actually towing these lines, that are doing climate resilience and all those things, so that where you cannot reach, you have actually supported them to also reach them. And then emission reduction, you're switching to cleaner fuels like CNG and LPG instead of fuel and diesel and all that. Regular stack emission monitoring. You are monitoring and reporting to NESRA. We have that responsibility. Remember compliance. We have to comply. And then maintenance of vehicles and generators to limit carbon output. This is very important. Now, in our own way, you have 5 workers living in the same area and working in the same place. And all of them have cars and all of them are driving to work every day. You are killing the environment. The environment is begging you. Week 1, you people should use one person's car. Come together, drive one car. It has reduced carbon emission of 4 other vehicles. So these are ways we help to reduce emissions. Now, I just looked at this and brought out this score so that it can help us. So if formula is there, you have your significance is equals to severity times probability times legal concern. So you're seeing the aspect of the score range, and 1 to 30 shows low, 31 to 60 shows medium, 61 to 125 shows high and significant. Some people take their own to above 500, and then there are ways like that where they monitor it depending on what you want. And then there is a significant level, there is the action that's based on the total with the action. And then to interpret the score, if you're having, if this severity is 4, if this severity is, if it's probability, then 3, regulation is 5. And then the total score when you multiply this is 60. So 60 out of 125 isn't that completely bad. It's still a good one. However, action has to be taken. You have to probably monitor. Okay, 60, you have to manage with standard controls. That way you solve that problem. Now, let's do the brain teaser 3. Brain teaser 3. Now, what would be that one change, that big impact? If you're to make one change, if you're to make one impact for the environment, if you make one change in your factory today, don't answer this. Just take this as a take-home assignment. What are you going to work on Tuesday to go and change? About your emission, about your water usage, about your energy consumption, about your waste generation. What would be that one thing you're going to go and do in your office to help better the environment? Somebody said justice for the environment. This is brain teaser 3. Nobody should mention anything. Just take this home and work on this. And I assure you, if you're able to ponder on this and work on this before this time next year, you would become a very environmentally fantastic company. And you'll be happy that you're contributing to the environment positively. And this is what I want to see. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the manufacturing companies in Nigeria has direct environmental impacts and have been able to establish that. However, with well-structured environmental management, companies can actually operate sustainably. And we can all attest to the fact that there are a whole number of companies that are operating sustainably. However, therefore, we need proactive identification and controls of these environmental aspects so that we can harness and preserve the environment. At this point, I would like to say thank you very much. And I'll hand over to Mr. Waliu, and I'll be here in the background to take questions. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope you had a wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. As you can see, the thank you is coming up on the group sessions. It's really well detailed as usual. You don't deliver less. I've known you to be very, very eloquent, to be very energetic when it's come to delivering training sections, enlightenment sections, webinars, seminars, and speaking generally. Thank you so much, Mr. Okafor Shineme, my very good friend, for this wonderful session. In fact, while you are speaking, you know, one thing that happens with things like this is that ideas comes into your mind. You start thinking of so many things. And I was thinking like a time will come in I don't know if it's already in existence now. A time will come in organizations whereby we'll be implementing what we used to implement in some companies with their printing. You know, our printer is designed in such a way that before in some companies, before you print, you must input your username and your password before you're able to print anything.
Yes.
So they use that to track the number of papers that you use. And that similar thing will be happening with our water very soon. Where every tap in every organization, every tap we have a kind of a login that you must select your name. Even if you're not going to log in, your name will be in the system. So once you switch on the water, the system will automatically know the amount of liters of water. And I know that if that time comes into play, some people will not even wash their bum again after using toilet because they won't want they will because the way we use water, we just on the tap, exactly during ablution, exactly for we that we are Muslim. Sorry for the Muslim brothers, I'm also a Muslim. When we want to do ablution, we just switch on the tap, and even Islamically, even the Prophet has warned us that you do not waste water. It's one of the teachings of Islam that you must not waste water. But you see Muslims, when they want to do their ablution, they just on the tap and they'll be discussing and the water will be wasting. All these little practice, they are very, very important. So the time will come whereby even in our mosques, we have to put your name there. And in our churches and in our organizations, where we have to put your name there. Once you click on it, you will know the amount of water that you are consuming per day, because water use is a very important part of our environmental sustainability as discussed by Mr. Shineme Okafor. Thank you so much, sir. This is really enlightening. I think we all learned a lot and we had a good number today. Thanks to everyone who has joined us. In fact, we can't start mentioning names. All of us that are here, we have always been consistent. I can't start mentioning names. We've all been consistent all to this moment. Why? Because we are building a community where we can all learn, unlearn, and relearn every time. You can see from the feedback, they are saying exceptional delivery, good delivery, clear presentation, straightforward, awesome presentation. Yes, it is not, I'm not surprised because I've known him to have this kind of energy and power. And thank God we are having I don't know if you'll be available, but we are having our what's it called? What Day for Health and Safety. So if you want him to come and present for you, he's always available. So that you people will not choke me. I've already gotten like 3 to 4 presentations and I don't know which one to reject and accept. So we have people like Okafor Shineme, who is ready to present if it's less busy to come and present virtually or physically at your organization. So thank you so much once again, Mr. Okafor, for the wonderful presentation. So quickly, before we go to our question and answer session, we have 2 hands raised. Please, if you want to ask any question, please raise your hand now. Once we start question and answer, we will not take any other hand because we don't want you to ask questions from what the other person has said, and it will be an unending process. So quickly before that, let us quickly use this opportunity to inform us that this was brought together it has always been brought together by a Cordal Safety Consult. Yes, ever since the COVID era, we've been creating enlightenment sessions on various topics. Before, it was initially for COVID, then later we streamlined it to health and safety, because we started in 2019, 2020 to enlighten the public about COVID, then later we streamlined it to health and safety, but now it's beyond just health and safety. Enlightenment session, we've discussed about quality management, project management, we've discussed about mental health, we've discussed about so many aspects, even we've discussed about career building. So many things have been discussed in this group, in this enlightenment section. If you want to know I want to see all our webinars, and it's more than 83, but the 83 is what we can show evidence for on our webinar, on our Zoom, on our YouTube channel. So when you go to our YouTube channel, you see all our 83 webinars there. There are more than 83, but the only one that we could document, that we could keep record of via YouTube, is the 83. So this is our 83rd webinar. And if you want to revise, maybe go back to what you have learned today, you can go back to our YouTube channel, Safety World TV, and you will always see this webinar there, live and direct. So thank you once again. And finally, like I said, this is brought to you by Cordal Safety. We are into health and safety trainings and general ISO trainings, AYOS certifications, and we are also into ISO certification. So we have a lot of trainings that we have in our calendar. We have many of us here that have gone to our trainings before. If you are interested in any of our training, please kindly reach out to us. Our level, health and safety level 2 and level 3 will be up for next week, which is AYOS UK certification for level 2 and level 3. That will be next week. And we always try as possible that for our AYOS courses, within a week, you have gotten your certificate. Our train the trainer course is coming up in June again. Mr. Okafor was one of our delegates for the train the trainer course. So one thing that we do about our train the trainer course is that apart from training you will also present. So this is Mr. Okafor fulfilling his requirement as part of our training process for train the trainer course. So we don't only train you to be a trainer, we also give you an opportunity to present on our webinar, which he has done today, and I'm very sure we all enjoyed the session. So that is that about train the trainer. We have process safety management course tour coming up. We have advanced root cause analysis and incident investigation. We have health and safety data analysis. Yeah, Mr. Okafor was talking about data. Now, most of us, we are talking about environmental sustainability, but we don't even know how to track our data. We don't even know how to collect this data of how many emissions we are using. I remember how many emissions we are generating, how many water are we consuming. I remember that we did a certification for Northwest Petroleum lubrication plant, and we devised a means to calculate the amount of CO2 they are emitting via data from the diesel usage, data from the energy usage, and we're able to bring up together to be realistic in our emission calculation. So all these are part of the trainings, especially when it comes to data. So we have a course on health and safety data analysis. And watch out, this week, I'm going to do a video on how to use Excel to track your fire extinguisher expiring dates. So I'm going to do a video for you on how to use the Excel to basically do that. Even though we have a free webinar on our YouTube on safety data, how to calculate LTI, lost time use severity rate, lost time injury frequency rate, and the lost work day case, restricted work day case, all those things. I think we have an overview video on our YouTube channel. You can learn from there. And even we also have a free training on incident investigation on our YouTube channel. You have a lot of things to learn, and that is what we are doing at Cordal Safety Consult, creating opportunity for people to learn, unlearn, and relearn. It's not only about come for our training. We also give you things that you can also learn for free. And also what we'll be doing very soon also, even though it's already on, but we are still working on our learning platform. That is our TechWatch Academy. If you've not learned about TechWatch Academy, I think you need to learn about TechWatch Academy now. TechWatch Academy is the learning platform where you can easily learn so many things. So this time around, it's not just about slides, video-led, tutor-led sessions. So we have a couple of courses on our TechWatch Academy that you can deeply learn from, deep learning sections, competency-based deep learning session and self-paced. Just like you have your Coursera, Udemy, and the likes, you also have such on TechWatch Academy, and we are building and adding more courses. And what we're doing now is that anytime we have a webinar like this, we'll give you a coupon code where you enjoy discounts. We want you to learn with ease. You know, things are very expensive now. Even though you can't have the opportunity to do a particular course, paid course, you can actually get knowledge, gain insight on subject matters at a very ridiculous price. And that's what we are building at Cordal Safety Consult, adding value and building professionalism with ease and confidence. So thank you once again. We have a lot of courses. If you want to know more about our courses, ISO courses 14001 is coming up very soon. In a couple of weeks, we'll be having our 14001 for environmental management system lead auditor course. So we'll be expecting you to see you. ISO 9001 is coming up, and our IMS class, integrated management system, is also coming up. So a lot of courses are coming up. Want to know more about our courses, want to build your career, you can always reach out to us. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thanks for listening to us. So we have our session for questions and answers. The first person that raised his hand is Mr. Adesonya Kolawole. Please, can you unmute, sir?
Hi, thank you very much. Am I audible?
Very, very audible, Mr. Kolawole.
Thank you, Coda Safety, for this wonderful opportunity. The platform created for us to learn, relearn, and unlearn. Thank you so much. I have had some trainings with Coda, and I can actually testify to all he has said. It's a very good place to learn. So please, if you have not had any training sections with them, please, I can fully recommend Coda for anything, any trainings related to health and safety and environment. Thank you very much for this platform once again. And a very special thank you to Mr. Chineme Okafor for a wonderful and insightful session on environmental impact and assessment. Please, I have just 2 questions. And from the way you have spoken, it shows that you are very vast in this field. So the question is, why displaying your slide the other time, you gave us control measures on how plastics can be mitigated. Plastic is like recycling and something. I don't know if you can still display that part of this slide. So, because that would lead me to my second question. So maybe while doing that, the problem of waste segregation. I notice I've been fortunate to work with companies that they are certified ISO 14001, and they tend to practice waste segregation. But the challenge comes in, even when all the waste has been segregated, different bins for different wastes, when these Loma people comes around, they tend to just dump everything together in their truck. So I don't know, is it the problem of government, or we are not doing enough as we are championing this? Because how can we separate something and the Loma people still come and mix everything together? So I don't know if there is something that can be done, or from your experience, okay, I think, no, not this place. Go on. Okay.
All right, can I respond?
Is it solution?
Yeah, this solution, yes.
Okay. So, and another thing, do you recommend another important contribution I would like to ask is this environmental education and community engagement. I think we need to do more as families. We need to do more as in communities we live. We need to train people. I remember I was at a major commercial plaza in my areas, one particular, I think it was 2 months ago, and I went to do a print. I went to print, and I was talking, so they were just gisting like, there was a fire incident at a particular shop, and I asked, is it that you people don't have a fire extinguisher in this place? Is it that you people don't know how to extinguish fire? Because the guy that was giving the gist was so happy that there is somebody that was so bold to eventually extinguish the fire. Last 2 weeks, I was at Idumota to go and fix my glasses. And a particular part in Idumota, this glass house, I could not recognize the street again. I was like, what happened here? They said there was fire and the building had been pulled down. So I think we need to do more. We need to preach more on community engagement, how we need to spread it. So please, if you can just help me to address those 2 questions. Those are my major questions anyway.
All right,
thank you. Thank you. Please address it.
Mr. Kolawole, are you done, sir?
Yes. As long as you got my 2 questions.
Okay, I got your 2 questions. The first one, you're talking about segregation of plastic, right?
So the previous slide before this, you see what I'm saying? Let me see the previous one. There is a particular place you use control measures
Okay. No. You've passed it. You will see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not this place. Just move a bit.
Here.
Okay, yes. You said packaging processes, recycling program. Is it that the company needs to introduce recycling programs like plastic companies or just any other company, like my engineering, that maybe they use or they have impacts from dump use of plastic PET bottles? Because I remember when I was working in my previous company, it's not a plastic generating company, but we have a lot of plastic dump on our dump sites from human use. They buy water, they buy soft drinks, and the rest. How can we achieve this? And we have a separate waste bin for all this. We separate iron from plastic from general waste. When Loma people come, they dump everything together in that. So how can we address? That's my question. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for the question. Beautiful question. So yes, I'll attack the plastic from two ways. Number one, if your company is a company that generates this plastic, like they package their products in these plastics, they are responsible to ensure that the plastic they are using is recyclable, not first generation plastic. That is how they do that. And that is what it means by recycling program. Are we together? Now, if it's not that they generate these plastics, but that based on human consumption of usage of bottled water, drinks, and all those things, they should also be responsible enough to sort or segregate this plastic waste and then get into contract with a recycling company that takes over these plastics and dispose it through them, so that those ones can in turn pick this plastic maybe once every month and then use it in their recycling process to produce other plastics. I hope that has answered this.
Thank you very much. Pat, that's a very insightful response. Thank you.
All right. So for this segregation, where you talked about segregation at the source and then certain agencies comes and then lumps everything up, I wouldn't know if those agencies, when they get to their final destination, have to now have a mechanism of doing a sorting and all that. I do not know. But what I would advise is, please, you should be responsible enough to know the end of whatever waste you generate. And you should be responsible enough to follow through. So when this happens and you segregate, you should identify vendors or waste collectors that collect certain types of waste. Don't give everything to a particular person and no. This is how this is managed where I work. So waste goes for so waste vendor. This is the waste they take. This is the waste this person takes. This is the waste this person takes. And that's how it's managed. Are we clear, sir?
Perfect, sir. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you so very much for your question. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Next
So
question.
yeah, you talked about education and community engagement. So this is simple. You have World Environmental Day. You have your environment, your community development. You have things like Coda Consult, doing some kind of things. You have what do you call it? You have I have my bosses. So I have Engineer Jamiu Badmos doing things with QHSES, and every once in a while, the other day they were in Ikorodu to do some trainings with people. I have my boss, boss Julius Akpong. He has his own NGO too. They go out and they do things like this. So you can also partner with them. You can start up your own too within the places where you stay. You can collaborate with Coda as well. And then this can be sorted that way. So this is how this is managed. Thank you.
All right. And in addition to that, talking about community engagement, the community starts from our family. As a family, what have we educated? Have we educated even those within our own circle, from our parents to our siblings, on how to extinguish a fire? Then our immediate compound, maybe for many of us that live in a rented apartment, have we come together to say, okay, let me teach my people? I'm also guilty. Nobody's innocent. Let me teach my people inside our compound how to extinguish fire. A day will come where I will not be around, or when you will not be around, that the fire will start from nowhere, and is your neighbor that are around that will extinguish the fire. Now, from there, have you been able to join your CDA, your community development association, your CDA? Have you gone to meet the chairman or anyone that you know that, okay, please, can I have some minutes during the CDA meeting for me to teach those that are present how to extinguish a fire? Have you gone to the welders in your street? That's why we talk about relationship management. Have you even been, many of us, once we leave home very early in the morning like this, even the street, you don't greet anybody on the street, you just frown your face, and those of us that have car, just drive off, go to and fro. We don't create that relationship for us to even have the opportunity to enlighten them. So it starts from building a relationship with people, then starting from the very small community within us, then from there it can grow. We can't just say that I want to go outside there and start calling people and saying that we want to engage. Yeah, it also works, but what about, don't let us be like a lamp whose base is dark but shares light to the world. We should start from the basis, from where we come from, and we try to educate people, and it grows like that. So if you can all do that in our communities, I think we should go a longer way. Thank you very much. So that being said, Mr. Sunday, please kindly unmute quickly and ask your question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Waliu, and for Kodak Safety Council for putting this together. It has been so wonderful. Based on my busy schedule, I've not been always available, but anytime I join, I will enjoy the section. Thank you very much. And to our presenter today, Mr. Chineme Okafor, I want to also appreciate you for your wonderful presentation. I did not really have a question. I just want to remind Mr. Chineme Okafor, I didn't even know that he is actually doing wonderfully well like this. And in our chapter here, we are looking for technical people to make technical presentation. Please, we want you to come on board too in our chapter, please. So that
is this my secretary from NIE Safety Ibadan?
Yeah,
yeah.
So that you can.
My guy, you don't catch me. Well done, sir. All right, this is noted. So I'll work on this. Thank you, sir.
You also be giving us wonderful presentations here.
No problem,
Thank you very much. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And thank you, Mr. Waliu. I really appreciate your work. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome, sir. Thank you, Mr. Sunday. So next person, Mr. Oluwole Ojetokun. Mr. Oluwole. Yes, sir.
Hope you can hear me. Yeah, please. Actually, this is not a question. This is just my little contribution. To start with, I want to appreciate the speaker and the host for putting this together. It's a wonderful section indeed. But I just want to cap this off by this little illustration. Ouch. This exclamation matters a lot in our company and in our life. One, the tom is a little drop of water from your pipe you didn't bother to take care of. And as we say, going in that a drop of water make a mighty ocean. You pass by the pipe, there is this leakage, you be careless. But at the end of the day, you'll be spending more on energy to pump more water that you are not using. You will spend on fuel, and the little repair you can carry out that you fail to do will cost you a lot. So you cannot but do, when you hear that sound that, oh, it's a signal that there's a problem and you need to work on it. That is a tom. When you have your, after the show, tom is your air or gas leakage. You are busy pumping in money, buying fuel. Your energy ratio is going down the drain, and because of that, you are neglecting too. This is added up to your loss. And because they are so minimal, you thought they are nothing. But at the end of the year, if you have to put these things together, you will be shocked to see that, oh, this is actually going to cost me a lot. This is actually going to cost me a whole lot. So you don't just go by that. And the ouch, that is the pipe you fail to lag. So your heat emissions, which will also contribute to your your EUR, the heat emission, because, and that will not just cost you your heat emission, this will also cost you an incident or accident to the company. Somebody passing by the open pipe that you fail to lag, and the next thing is, ouch, his hand is there, lost time injury, and the like. So from this three just illustration, your WR is going down the drain, your EUR is going down the drain, and you are wasting more money. And this one can achieve a better loss for the organization and the energy. Thank you. That's my little contribution. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. So last person, Madam Maudlin Elijah. Please kindly unmute, ma'am.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Maudlin. I want to thank the CADA Consort for putting all this together, and then the presenter, Mr. Chineme Okafu. I hope I got that right.
Yeah,
okay, I came in halfway, but I listened through, and then I was also brainstorming as I listened to the presenter. The area I want to take is actually a different part, and it's I just concluded a program in my school. At a point I was almost frustrated when it got to the registration, doing clearance and all that, bring a ream of paper, and even during the defense level, you see where they say get we need like 2 or 3 textbooks. From 6 they reduce it to 5 now, and I'm like, this ESG, this environmental impact knowledge, is it not supposed to go through the 4 walls of the university or the higher institution, or are we really getting something wrong here that they keep you go to a particular office, you see projects of the past students or students that have graduated. Is there not, can there be something that we will do to change this aspect? Because we're talking about aspect, impact, and then control. What are the strategies that we may actually sell to the professors, head of department, coordinators in the school, on how we change this idea, or let it go green, because we are trying to make everywhere go green now. You go to a particular department, they just condemn one office, it's all booklets, it's all projects that they will never review, or they won't get there. At the end of maybe a session, they pack it into one vehicle and then go dispose of it. So I just need an insight, so that probably I'll start from my own side and then maybe start talking it small. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, madam. I'll allow my boss, Engineer Wali, to attend to this.
All right, thank you very much, madam. The first thing is, there's what we call the socio-technical system involved in risk management. And what we have highlighted is a major environmental risk that we have been facing for over decades. And when it comes to this socio-technical system, we are talking about the levels of responsibilities. The level of responsibilities from where the risk appears or where it starts from, to the regulatory framework, to the nature, to the political framework at large. You see, there are some things that are not within our control, that they are external, we can call them external factors, that as an individual or as an organization or even as an institution, they are not within our control. Unless individual universities, polytechnic, decides that they want to develop an institutional framework to address environmental issues, that will continue to happen. However, the only way it can be mandated is that from the regulatory framework. We talk about NESRA, because most times what I've seen about Nigeria is that most times, most institutions are only after what they want to benefit. Even individuals, even organizations, we only do things because we want to benefit something. We only do awareness. We only talk about, we only do awareness about a lot of subject matter, about safety, about environment because of something that we want to benefit, not really because we want to actually do that complete CSR. So now, most of these institutions, for example, NESRA, that we're talking about, NESRA, for example, should be addressing something like this. But you see them going after companies because they know that they can get money from companies when they violate. Yes, they are doing a wonderful job. But beyond just the issue of revenue generation, I think they need to address all institutions that is expected to exist as an entity. There are a lot of institutions. Yes, we are talking about universities now. What about courts? Court cases, any small court case, you are filing a topic, you are filing a paper. Yes, these days, I think I don't know about all courts, but I think magistrate court, there are some things that you can now fill online. You don't need to print out copy. You can fill them online and submit them online. Digitalization, we talk about, and the reason why I'm also now becoming frustrated, just like you, that institutions are meant to be at the forefront, are meant to gear the interest, but issue of collaboration is not existing again. Because when there is collaboration, maybe we need to have Ministry of Collaboration in Nigeria, because that collaboration is not there. Yes, because it is when there is collaboration that they can remember that, okay, if NESRA can collaborate with universities, then collaborate with Ministry of Science and Technology, they can be able to
collaborate with Ministry of Health because of General Hospital. You need to see the tons of fire.
Tons of fire that is there. So we are just talking about environment, climate change. Then we are imposing fines and the like. But what is the basics is not being done. What you have rightly mentioned about paper. If they can collaborate to ensure that most of these things should be digitalized. Students want to submit projects. Must they submit in hard copy? Is there a reason behind that hard copy? And what happens after that hard copy? Where do they store them? Where do they document? Because now there's need for documentation. Maybe that is the reason that they need to document them. Is it anywhere in the NUC Act? I don't know if they have an act. That's the Nigerian University Commission. Is there any regulation that talks about projects must be submitted in hard copy? Or it only says that projects should be submitted, should be documented, evidence of documentation. So any documentation doesn't mean that it must be hard copy. It can be soft copy. But again, we need to understand the scope of this regulatory framework of these institutions before we can cascade them. And if the regulation says that it must be hard copy, there is room for improvement. We are in the world of digitalization. Things must not necessarily mean that it must be hard copy, but you should understand that by the time they want to start digitalizing, definitely they need to have an archive, a system in place that they need to properly control to avoid students from infiltrating the archives. This thing you need to put into perspective the risks and opportunities, the good and the bad side. By the time they start digitalizing project reports, what are the risks involved? Students can infiltrate into the process and submit a fake document, and the university will feel like we assume that they have submitted. Meanwhile, there's no submission, which means that they need to create a extra process. But are they ready for that? They need to create a extra process before it gets to the process of archiving every project report. So there's a whole lot of complexity involved. And the problem is moving from one point to another. We want to remain the same. Universities, and we call them universities, which will be universal in reality, and adopt the technology that comes with growth in with development in the world at large. But there's a whole lot to do, because by the time we start breaking it down, there's a whole lot of complexity. But the bottom line is that if you are in the capacity to make decisions that has to do with environmental management system, that has to do with environmental sustainability, please make those decisions not because you are expecting a kind of maybe, okay, I want to take grants. Because of grants, let me go and train market people so that I will show the World Bank that I did awareness and they can give me grants. That's the reason why most people are doing all these things, because they are looking for grants, they are looking for ways to infiltrate companies and show them that, see, I've done this, I've done that, I need this from you. Not really for the passion. Yeah, it's also a good reason, but the passion is not there. The passion is not there, and that is why it is affecting it. That is why we only do it for a short period of time. By the time there's no more benefit, it's no more done again. By the time there's no more benefit, it's no more done again. So at the regulatory framework, as a nation at large, as a country, starting from the House of Assembly to the House of Rep, to the executive, to the House of Rep, they need to create laws that helps to bind these things together, that helps to put this thing into perspective. Enough of yes, we do webinars. I'm also guilty, but enough of this webinars. Yeah, it is good, but what about the practical part of it? What about actions that you put in place? What about actions? We are talking about AI in health and safety. I bet you me, with the way we are going in the next 10, 20 years, I don't think even ordinary soft copies. Thank you, sir. Policy makers. We need to reach out to the policy makers too. Our policy makers, what are they doing? They need to create policy for environmental management, not just talking. Climate. Yeah, some people went to Dubai to go and talk about COP 28 or what they even call it. That they won't talk about environmental sustainability. Now, what impact does it have on us? Now, look at what is happening now. They are saying that they want to domesticate production of solar panels. See, I'm telling you, if you have not bought a solar panel, please go and buy it now. You said it's expensive. In the next couple of years, by the time they say that local manufacturers should be producing, it is good for us to domesticate it. Let's produce ourselves, but it will increase the cost. Just like every other thing that we have decided to produce ourselves has increased in cost. We decided to produce our crude oil, our petrol ourselves, it increased in cost. We decided to produce our rice ourselves, it increased in cost. Everything that we decided to produce ourselves always increase in cost. So if they say that, and Nigeria is that, see, I don't want to talk about Nigeria because I will say a lot of things. We don't regulate how we just impose laws. We just suddenly impose it. If they shut all borders and we do not gradually balance it, and we don't have opportunity to import panels again, and we are only depending on what we have in this Nigeria. How many manufacturers do we have that is producing panel? So these laws, this regulation, I don't know how they come about it. Same thing applies to what we are talking about. Our universities, we should be where the forefront should be. Digitalization is not there. So there need to be policies, and they need to invite Ministry of Education to create laws, guidelines for universities to embrace digitalization. That's just the bottom line. And when they do it, it should be part of the criteria for approving courses or courses in universities. So before we can approve you, when we come to do audit, we must ensure that you have 50% or 70% of your processes digitalized. And there should be ways to measure these metrics. So there's the whole lot, but we as individuals, we can't do anything because these are external parties. Unless we also go into position of power. That's why we also say that as professionals, let us be in a particular party. No more staying in the fence. Go out to vote. Join the political movement. Don't just stay on the fence, because whether you like it or not, some people will climb that post. They will be there to make decisions for you, and they will make decisions that won't favor you. So join politics, join a party, ensure that you're engaged in the politics of the nation. It might be tiring, but at the end of the day, all this that we are talking about, it becomes nothing if we do not have people in power that can actually listen to us and also think like we think. So there's a whole lot involved, but the bottom line to what Madam has asked is that our regulatory framework needs to embed the Ministry of Education together with Ministry of Science and Technology, together with the Ministry of Environment, to come together to actually ensure that they create targets for universities. For example, 70% of their processes must be digitalized, and they must specifically mention the minimum requirement. For example, if any student wants to fill any form, it must be digitalized. They must do it online, approve it online. There's no need for hard copies for anything. Exam can still be done hard copies for issue of malpractice. But if that also can be done online, virtually, some universities are already doing that. Now, projects can be done digitalized. So it has to do with understanding the context and these interested parties coming together, making this thing possible and continuously monitoring it, not because they are looking for money, but because they are looking for who to penalize, but because of the passion to actually support the environment. I think that is what I will say for now. Thank you so much. I can see Engineer Tukur Lawal. You're welcome, sir. Our powerful engineer. Always with us, sir. It's been a long time that we've heard your voice. Can we hear from you briefly, sir? Engineer Tukur Lawal.
Kader, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak to you, my leaders, and my colleagues. You have spoken, as always, you always do. We need to move from these speeches, beautiful speeches, very constructive speeches, to action. You rightly said so. There's a disconnect between us and our policymakers. While we're here discussing these issues, preparing solutions, they are not even aware of them. And when they sit around Abuja or Lagos, they don't even talk about them. It's high time we engage them. We find a way of engaging. Thank God, Ipson is now back, and I think it's more formidable. We have a front now. And one thing you said, which I struck my mind, is we have to join politics. You can't do this thing from the side, by the side. You have to get into it. And I have been taking that as a challenge, and I know many of us will have to take that as a challenge. So one thing is, Kadar, thank you very much for this service to humanity. The money may not have a very pat bank account, but God knows what you are doing, and God will, inshallah, reward you bountifully and your family, and all those that are in this course. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to rub my hands with you. I always find it very, very resourceful joining this conversation. Thank you, sir, and Ma, and other leaders that are here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Okafor. Thank you so like Engineer Tukur likely said, passion is greater than short-term financial benefit. And I wish we can dedicate our energy and resources to find solutions to our local problems. And we need to reach out to our policymakers. Thank you so much, Engineer Tukur Lawal, for always being with us. Thank you, everyone. After this, the next session is that we will have presentation of certificates. Yes, Mr. Chineme Okafor, we appreciate your effort, what you have put together. And I must say that this is very educating, and everyone has learned one way or the other. Yes, we have learned a lot, and we have strengthened our understanding about environmental management together with the questions that triggered more conversation. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chineme Okafor. Thank you for the opportunity to actually educate us. So after this call, this following week, we are going to send you our certificate of appreciation as for choosing to speak with us on this particular topic. Thank you so much, Mr. Chineme Okafor. Final word from you before we end it finally.
All right, Mr. Waliu, my very good friend and big brother, thank you so very much for this opportunity. You don't know how much it is or it means to me. It's one of the best ways I've been learning and I've been growing, and I thank you so very much. You have monitored my journey, and we're here. To all the participants, all the delegates, I'm very grateful for allowing this small boy with very little experience to speak to you all. I'm very grateful. I got information that some people connected thinking it was yesterday. Madam Amaka, a lot of people, and I'm very grateful. Thank you for the support. And my desire is that we take these trainings home and then we make them actionable. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
All right, finally, like we said, this is a platform for us to learn. It is very important because I also personally believe that, for example, this webinar is on YouTube. So someone like Mr. Okafor can actually make reference this to any organization that, yes, he has presented on so topic. Just copy the link on the YouTube and present it to them. That is evidence of competency. It's not only about certificates. There are other means that companies will use to evaluate you. Remember that these days, companies will go online to go and learn who you are, what you have done for the past years. So Mr. Okafor already has an evidence that yes, our flyers are around. I'm very sure he put the flyer on his LinkedIn. Whenever any company wants to get, is looking for who is Okafor, they go on his LinkedIn, they see that yes, this man has done webinars before. They go to this channel, they see his presentation. So this platform is open for everybody. I don't know why we are all running away. If you know that you have a good topic that you want to present, we are ready to get you on board. Send us, just send me a DM. Let me know the topic you want to discuss about. Share me your slide. Let us review it together, because we also review the slides together. Let's review the slides together and let us pick a date and let us educate ourselves. No one is perfect. You don't need to be perfect before you present. There are opportunities to also learn, and the best form of learning is to teach others. The best form to remember what you have learned is to teach others. So if you know that you have a topic that you want to discuss with us on any topic at all, it can even be human resource topic. It can even be about anything at all that you see that people can benefit from. Send me a DM, message me, and let us plan on the next webinar. It's open for everyone. Thank you for staying out to this moment. Thank you, Madam Teresa Olanyinka. It's nice seeing you. You've been online since the beginning. Mr. Toyese Patola, thank you. Mr. David Ajiboye, thank you for joining us. Mr. Abdul Majid Saliu, Mrs. Bukola, yes, Mrs. Bukola, Mr. Aziz Oguniro, Mr. Babawale, Mrs. Juliana, Mr. Tuoyo Fregene, yes, my very good friend, Mr. Shinemi Okafo, Mr. Ibrahim Sonny, Mrs. Vivian, yes, every one of us, thank you, thank you, thank you. We can't keep mentioning names. Mr. Christopher, Mr. Abayomi Mikhail, Mr. Bounty Gabriel, always here with us. Thank you, Mr. Ayavis Obuji, Mr. Engineer Abdullahi, Mr. Charles, Mr. Paul, Mr. Victor, Mr. Henry. Yes, every one of us. Thank you so much. So okay. Yes, I've mentioned you, Mr. Gabriel, Mrs. Tolu Lokpe, thank you for joining. So we can all unmute now and thank our wonderful speaker, Mr. Okafo. Please, let's thank him for a wonderful presentation. Thank you, Mr. Okafo, for a wonderful presentation. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wonderful
thank you.
platform and meeting. Thank you so much, sir. We are so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Mr. Okafo. Thank you.
Keep it up. Good job.
See as they are hailing you, Mr. Okafo. Thank you. We all look up to seeing every one of us. Send me a DM.
Thank you, Mr. Chineme.
All right. So thank you. So as usual, we'll be counting from 10, 9, 8 to 1. And we close today's section. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye, everyone. See you all again.